I'm going to explain what I feel the differences between false appearances and false assertions are when identifying what is a lie through examples of my personal life as well as tying in references from Meyer and Houston, which we've discussed in class. Growing up, I've always felt that my father was a perfect example of someone who lived a double life. He was the one type of guy who was always dressed up in a suit and tie coming from work whenever any of my friends would see him. He was known to be a jokester, the guy who was always taking pictures at every event, and the guy who everyone was always excited to see. Unfortunately, his outside appearance was only for show, because who he was behind closed doors was not the person who everyone believed him to be. My dad used false appearances in a way to persuade people to think that he was the perfect family man who had a great career and lived a happy life, but that was not the case. He was in fact very angry. He was a man who refused to ever be wrong, an alcoholic, a dictator in his household, and someone who quite frankly I tried my best to not be around. Contrary from him dressing in a suit and tie every morning for work, as soon as he got home, he changed into a raggedy t-shirt and shorts, made himself a drink, and searched to find anything wrong in his eyes that was going on, and began to ridicule myself, my mom, and my sisters. Aside from his false appearance to others, he was also telling lies through false assertions whenever people would ask him how things were going on at home. He would answer the questions saying things like, "Oh, things are wonderful. I couldn't be happier with my loving family," and go on a rampage about what each of us has going on in our lives. What bothered me the most is that he began lying about his marriage to my mom. Their marriage was in the beginning very happy and loving, it seemed like. But all of a sudden, when my mom finally spoke up about how my father was acting, things took a turn for the worst. And he wanted a divorce. But guess what? No one even knew that my parents got divorced. I'm a senior in college now, and they've been divorced since my freshman year. My family's kept it a secret because they're too ashamed to tell anyone. My mom is always using false assertions when we arrive at functions, now without my father, and people ask where he is. She answers the question saying things like, "Oh, he's home doing lawn work," or "he's away on business." To top it all off, my mom uses fake appearances by choosing to still wear her wedding ring, so that people don't ask her why she no longer wears it. To me, which is definitely a form of lying, although it is indirect. The main differences between false appearances and false assertions when lying and being able to tell what is a lie is that false appearances are based on the outside appearances of a person, as well as their actions that portray a lie, and false assertions are the verbal cues that are used through communicating the lie. As Meyer suggests, the human body has many ways of deceiving a person through ways such as expressions and illustrations. But in this case, I feel like the overall outside appearance of my father is a way that he used to deceive others and how he wanted people to believe his life was going to be. He wanted them to think he was this happy-go-lucky man when in fact he was the complete opposite. This also goes along with the way my mother was showing that she was happily married by wearing her wedding ring every day, although she is divorced. Houston focused more on the verbal aspect of lying and pointed out that the many ways that one can tell when someone may be lying through what they're saying and how they're saying it are through the things such as giving very specific answers and denying what is really going on in life, such as my mother and father when answering questions, as well as my father going into detail about how successful my sisters and I are. Meyer and Houston both share the belief that an individual can be deceived in many ways, such as false appearances through physical aspects as well as false assertions through verbal aspects. They share this passion in expanding our knowledge of being able to differentiate a lie and the truth. It is very important for us to be able to know the difference because sometimes we are getting deceived, and that is not something that we would like to have done.